Hi everybody, Russ and my Amazon 11. Hope you're all safe and well of your channel. Please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. As always, I think lovely channel sponsors Untucked. So check them out in the description below. So Euros are well, this is going out on Friday. The Euros have started. You see what I did there, Paul? See, like I've recorded it before, but I pretend and then I'll forget. And then what I'll do is I'll edit this bit out.
Nice.
Or I'll forget to. Either or, it doesn't matter. So anyway, England's playing on Sunday. Obviously, Euros, Euro songs, and you know, and Paul's released one. With the help of our friend of the channel, Mr. Canningtown Len. Good Times Again, it's called, and but also more importantly, I know he's released a song singing, but he's a hammer. That's why he's on the show. That's why he's on the show. How are you doing, Paul?
Very well, Russ. I appreciate you having me on your show. I mean, what a show to be on. I've looked at many of your videos from other people, and wow, you've had some people on here, man.
We've done all right. Yeah, we have done all right.
Done all right. Yeah.
Not as do you know what? Do you know what I haven't done? I haven't been on more than just a podcast, but you have.
Oh, I know. I must say that is an experience you must live through yourself.
So, I sort of have. I went on they did some Len and Nigel like a sort of a supplementary one, and I did that, but not with all three of them in the same room. So
yeah.
So that's
so far so good.
So far so good. Yeah. So how's things for you, man? You must be excited about the single out and all that stuff.
I'm excited about the single. I'm looking forward to the Euros. I got a good feeling that. I mean, to be honest, I think I always have this feeling that we might do all right. Yeah. But I'm feeling it even more so this time, which, you know, is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yourself? Are you feeling it?
To be honest, I'm really crap when it comes to international football. I'm never really up for it. Like during like the Nations League and the friendlies, but as soon as the tournament turns up, I'm a proper turncoat. You know, I would be red and white painted and in the pubs. And so, yeah, I am excited. I just think it's one of those things where I think it's where sort of England have this sort of like every England fan, anytime any sort of tournament comes, I think we're going to win. It's sort of a bit like being a West Ham fan, like every season.
That is exactly.
It's our season. We're going to do well. And it's like...
I've always felt the same. I've always felt that supporting West Ham is like being an England fan because, I mean, if you support Man United, City, Arsenal, all through the years you've had success, whereas us, West Ham, not been so lucky in recent years. And the same with England. They've always got a team where there's some players in there you think, yeah, this is the time. It's looking good. And it always seems to stumble, doesn't it?
It's true.
And I feel that's on par with being a hammer.
It is. I mean, I'm the same. Literally, I know in like a few days' time, the fixtures will be out for the Premier League and for next season, and you look at them and go, that's it, this is definitely our season. And usually we sort of the optimism drops off about October, November time, but not this year, not this season. It's just carried on, didn't it? It was mental. The whole season was crazy.
It was far beyond anything any of us could have imagined, wasn't it? I mean, what a bunch of guys we got there, all playing for each other and all playing for the manager, and just such good team spirit. You could see it like every match, that just the way they all, congratulate each other and hug each other and play for each other. Love it. It's a really good time to be a West Ham supporter.
It is, and you're exactly right. It's a team that plays for each other. If you had to pick your hammer of the year, Paul, for the season's just gone, who would you pick?
I think I'd go Souček. I think I'd have to. I think he's just so consistent. When he came into the team, he just brought something with it. I know, obviously, Lingard, half a season, he brought a lot with him. But I think consistency throughout the whole season, Souček or Declan Rice, it's one of them two for me.
But what I like about this season is you ask that question to lots of people, and it's not the same answer. Usually, usually for the last 4 or 5 years, it's been Dimitri Payet, Declan Rice. No disrespect to him, Arnie. It was. But this year, because we've got a team, it has been like, it could be 3 or 4. It could be Declan. It could be Souček. It could be Ogbonna. It could be Soufal. It could be Fornals. It could be Antonio. Realistically, it could be any of them. And I just think that's such a good reflection on the idea of we've got this team built around a team now rather than individuals, and so
it feels different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like something that we're not used to. I think in well, not for many years anyway.
That's
just
for sure.
just yeah, it's exciting. Towards the end of the season, I just felt like apart from when they stumbled a bit, but you felt like they could go into any game and just win that game, and
yeah,
the majority they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So,
and that's what I liked about it. Even when we went 1-0 down or something, the nature of our team spirit, you're like, oh, sorry, we'll score in a minute. Doesn't really, it's like, we were like really confident. And again, I can't remember a time for a long time that we were confident. And sort of, very few games we didn't score as well, which is again for us as well, what I mean? So, or very few games which we didn't hit the bar. I think we hit the crossbar 23 times this last season. I think Tottenham beat us. The only thing Tottenham did beat us on all season is how many times they hit crossbar. But no, it's all good, man. And obviously, go on, you carry, man.
I was going to say that's okay. We'll give that to them. They beat us on
over league position.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Different the better European competition. I'll take that. And now it seems that Tottenham are trying to they're just trying to get anyone to be their manager now. I think I got a missed call from them today, and it's just ridiculous at the moment. I feel so sorry for Tottenham fans. I really do, because a lot of my friends, and it's like
okay,
and it's like they don't like it's probably have this sort of, they're not my second team at all or anything like that, but it's like you have a giggle. But now it's getting a bit silly now. Even like Wolves have got their manager sorted. I know Everton haven't got their manager sorted yet, but technically us, we haven't even got our manager, to be fair.
Well, I think our one's sorted though, isn't he? I think he's there. He's got to be,
but yeah. It's in the in tray. Apparently it's in the in tray. He's just got to just look at it and just sign it and then put it in the out tray. But yeah. So those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones until
totally.
Sides. So,
let's not say any more about managers, but yeah.
Let's move on to the song. Right. So
okay.
Obviously, I know. I was talking to Len. Obviously, it was going to come out last year, obviously, but obviously the Euro didn't happen. Why write a song for England?
I'm a musician. I've been playing, been in many bands over the years, and I've always written songs. And that song, "Good Times Again," did start in 2002.
Wow!
It's just a song that I just felt like writing a football song. I always felt like, how they say like everybody's got a book in them.
Yeah.
Well, I always felt like every kind of musician should have a football song in them. So I thought I'd give it a go. Over the years, I kept updating the song. People came, people went, and it got to last year, and I actually felt like I'm just going to record a proper version of it, and then I'm done with it. I'm happy. I did record that, and then I saw Canning Town Len's Everybody's Second Team documentary film.
Brilliant.
I say it's such a good thing to watch. I really enjoyed it for the content, but also the animation. I just saw that and I thought, wow, I'd love that. I'd love to have my song, a video with that animation. So I got in touch with Canning Town Len, and then the project was kind of, it's on hold for a few months, and in recent months he got in touch and he said, right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So between us, a little project, music and a video, and the video has been released today. So
it has been released today, yeah.
I got to give credit to Len, because he did do a promo version of the video, and it did feature a Mr. Lingard.
Yes.
In the video.
Yes. Do you know? I just realised you're right. It did.
Yes.
It did have Jesse in the promo.
Unfortunately, due to Mr. Southgate, we had to take him out, and I believe it's Phil Foden instead playing the guitar.
It's Phil Foden with his new haircut.
It is, yes. So it's bang up to date.
It's literally bang up to date. Not only because I imagine Len probably changed. Yeah, I imagine Len changed it, and then he saw that Phil. Oh, for God's sake, Phil!
You know Len. You know he's like. Oh.
I can just imagine him.
Yeah.
Expletive, seeing that him all the dye in his hair. But yeah, no, it's great. And what we'll do is this is a clip. We'll put up a clip of it now. Brilliant. There we go. What a great song.
Thank you.
The magic of the internet.
Love it.
I mean, that's the great thing. That's the one thing I always love about the Euros. Well, there's certain things. Any sort of time England play, you get, well, particularly in the last 2 or 3, I can remember particularly. I get literally hundreds and hundreds of those little video clips of it's coming home with various different, like might be Del Boy singing it, or they've already started. Already started, man.
That's a classic, isn't it? I don't think you can beat that one.
Apart from good times again.
Yeah, of course.
Christ,
yes.
Paul, you got to sort it.
Yeah, I'm just yeah, I've got to sort this out. But yeah. It's a great song, but we need a newer one.
We need a newer one.
Yes.
One of my classic ones, which I always find on YouTube every time, is Terry Venables' "England Crazy." Brilliant song. It's all big band. No one's heard of it. Honestly, I think it was 2002. Might have been World Cup, because it must be, because I was at uni. Yeah, Terry Venables' "England Crazy."
I think he did release a couple of actual pops, singles back in the day, didn't he?
Yeah, he did his big band, all big band stuff. He ain't got a bad voice, but it's just so cheesy. So I always have to find it.
I need to find that.
Oh, England Crazy, it'd be great. Terry Venables drives around a bus in London, open top bus with a mic which is not plugged in or switched on, and yeah, brilliant. And that problem, because you just got Len to just animate you instead.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
You have to think about that music video. Just get Len to do it.
Yeah. Good old Len.
Yeah, good old Len. Love old CTL. Right. Now, more importantly, obviously, you're a hammer. So usually the first question I usually ask, but obviously we've been talking about music and stuff, is why are you a hammer, Paul? Why are you a hammer?
Well, growing up, my family was sort of split between West Ham and Arsenal. I remember the 1980 Cup final. I was at my nan and granddad's for the weekend, and my nan was a West Ham supporter and my granddad was an Arsenal supporter. My nan was the one that always cooked the really nice dinners that we all had. So you can't really, you can't go against that.
Can't go against
exactly. So because of that, West Ham, and we won it on the day, so that was a really good choice on the day. And I might have got a few regrets in recent years.
Yeah, with the Invincible season and stuff like that.
But once you get your team, that's your team, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you just follow them thick and thin.
It is, or more thin. So for us than thick.
More thin, maybe some thick on the way.
That's what I want. A couple of thick seasons. I'll have very noisy. Can you just get a couple of thick seasons in? But yeah, and you're right. Once you found your team, that's it. You're done, isn't it? It's like, I think, unlike some teams, I think where you have fairway fans rather, where they sort of, they join because it's like Chelsea, then they all became Man City. I think West Ham's is just a different club, isn't it? It's like once you're in. You don't sort of deviate.
Exactly. And I think once you've been there once and seen them, that's it. Hooked for life, isn't it?
It's true.
Hooked for life.
I mean, we must have done over 300 and something interviews, and everyone I've interviewed, I've said, they say exactly the same thing. I went the first time, and that was it. I was hooked. I haven't interviewed one person yet who has said, or even one of the players who said they've played once and that was it. No, it's like we've gone, yeah, it was all right. It's okay, I suppose. Everyone's like, that's it, I'm done. I mean, I'm in foot, line, and sinker, and it wasn't even necessarily about the match. When I said to some people, what was your first game? They go, it was da, da, da. Some people go, I can't remember the game, but all I can remember is I can remember the smell of the burgers and the cut grass and then they smoking era, so that with all the fags and it's just a sensory thing, isn't it? Really, I think going to football,
it's just a feeling, isn't it? It's hard to explain. It feels more than just you go on your own or with your friends, but you feel more than just one person. You just feel like you're all connected, and the same with away matches. I always like going to away matches because you was part of the minority, and it just feels more.
Yeah, you're totally right. And it's like the away stuff is like, you are just more of a gang then, aren't you? Not
Yeah,
literally, but you know what I mean?
you
So a
sort of
gang, there's less of you. It's us against them.
sort of
We can out
represent you're representing sort of
exactly
East
you're
London. Yeah,
representing. You're just like turning out for that team. And
yeah.
yeah, it's a good shout. I don't think about that in terms of away matches as much, but you think, yeah, I used to love going. We never used to do that many, to be honest, because I barely, because I get a pass of the home games, so not like the away games always. But when we did, it was special time games, the away games and stuff. Just because and also everything's a bit different. You don't know where
Yeah,
the
totally.
toilets are.
I remember going to, I think it was Oldham once, and we got a hot pot at half time. It's like, get a hot pot. What, not a burger? We got a hot pot. I mean, that's what football's all about, isn't it? Hot pot at half time.
I love it. Oh, that's brilliant. It is just like that, isn't it? It's like, or people like that, and obviously people go to when they did go to away games would know, the regulars, and so it'll be the same pub. That's the West Ham pub or the away team pub, and stuff like that. And it's just, and you see a lot of people you might not necessarily sit with, at London Stadium, but obviously you'll see them away because they always go to the away games and stuff. And it's I just can't wait for everyone to get back. Do you know what I mean? Just like that community spirit. I mean, it's okay on Twitter and Facebook and on a virtual thing, but when we had 10,000 at the last game, and you saw, and obviously Nigel was there and Sean, and you saw them there with their pies, and Sean would probably a few pies knowing him. And I can't. He gives it to me so much. They call me the button. They call me the button monkey, because all I do is press a button. It's like, it's a button that you'd love to press, wouldn't it? But anyway, and so yeah, but
I'm not trying to grass on anyone, but I think they mentioned you on the More Than a podcast the other day.
Of course,
I think
they
you
do.
got obviously
they do.
Got lots of love and respect for you.
So rent free in their mind. That's what it is. It's rent free. No, it's all love. Do you know what? It's great. As I said, I love Sean. I love Len and Nigel's fan. Nigel comes on. We do an evening, like every so often, where we do appreciation nights. We do it with Frank McAvenny the other day, where we sort of like do his highlights, show him highlights and things like that. And Macca turned up, and that's Nigel's favourite player ever. And he was like a schoolboy. It was really like, yeah, it's really sweet. But yeah, no, he's a top. They were top guys, and as I said, they are good lads. And that's the thing. I mean, with West Ham, that's the thing. Seeing Sean and seeing Nigel there having a pint and stuff, I think that's what people have missed more than anything with no fans in the stadiums, is having that pint.
Seeing the highlight, seeing the match on the telly of the last game, seeing them fans, they just all looked so happy.
Yeah.
The ones that were there, didn't they?
They just looked so happy, and it was just so nice to see, because you sat there and just watching them, and there's like kids there, and there's old blokes, and some guys who've probably been going for 50 years, and now they're sort of like, they haven't been for over a year really at the stadium. And I think it's gonna. I think I know everything's awful what's happened in the last sort of 15 months or 16 months or so, but I think for West Ham, I honestly think it's given opportunity to a lot of the fans, particularly the players have played so well, that the fans are sort of renewing their identity with the club again. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like people are desperate to go back, and they're desperate to see it. Yeah, fresh start almost. Yeah, I think it's great. It's really good.
I've heard, I don't know, probably all heard the same stuff, but like on various sports stations, and a lot of them kind of said that maybe West Ham did better because there wasn't fans at the stadium, which I understand in some ways, but then I think that's taking it away from the players.
Yeah, I think. No, I agree. To be perfectly honest and perfectly frank, I think at the beginning it did help us, because in the summer it wasn't a great summer transfer wise, and we just sold Dean Gone, didn't we? Just for the and Mark Noble came out with that tweet, didn't he, on Twitter to say, we didn't want to go. It was all a bit
toxic.
Yeah, and then
it wasn't it for a while.
It was, and we didn't play very well. Then we lost the Newcastle game, and then we lost. It wasn't a good game. It was probably our worst game all season. Same as the Arsenal game away the following week rather. And you just know that it would have just, the monkey will be on their back, so to speak, moving forward. And so I think that definitely helped us, like the team settle as a team into the season. But you know, the adverse thing is you look at times where we might have dropped points. We had a lot of 3-2s, didn't we? Or the Arsenal game, it was 3-3. With a crowd, the way we were playing first half, with a crowd behind us, we wouldn't have drawn that game. We'd have won that game 4-1, 5-1 easily, convincingly.
Agreed.
And so they needed that. And I mean, you saw that, you know, I remember watching the West Brom game, and West Brom, we played West Brom at the Hawthorns, and West Brom were like a completely different team with the crowd behind them. And it makes a huge difference. And actually, I think that's, again, a testimony to Moyes and the team in terms of the squad and the backroom staff, in that, you know, you'd hope most football players would be up for games, to win games. But sometimes if you're not feeling a bit shit or whatever, where you need that team to push you through, because you haven't got the crowd to push you on that extra 10%, 15%. So having a really strong team bond, that's what helped us. And that was generated with not having fans. So it's sort of a you know, chicken and egg thing, I think.
That was the good thing about not having, well, there's not many good things about not having fans there, but that was one of the good things, that you actually heard all the players kind of shouting to each other, and you could hear there's like, you know, people commanding more from other players, and it's a really good thing to see.
And also, we've got a really noisy bench. You know, we've got a really noisy bench.
Yeah.
We've got, you know, we've got Moyes, we had Alan, we had Kevin, we had some big shouters on the bench as well.
Yeah.
And that really like came through on the telly and stuff. Obviously, I was there, so I literally popped my head out, and I'd sit outside listening, because it's just hilarious listening to them all just shouting. I remember it was Villa. We played Villa. And old JT, old John Terry, was kicking off with our fitness coach. Oh, it was just hilarious. And you could hear it all the way up, because obviously noise travels, isn't it? Right where all the journalists are. Everyone, they're just laughing at all everything. He offered him out. He went, yeah, all right, come on then. Come on in, John. It's like brilliant. Dave Billows, God bless him. Oh, so much fun. I loved it. Loved it. But yeah, I mean, and hopefully, as you said, you know, hopefully more thick to come. You know, got a European tour coming, so
that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
How good is that? Yeah.
Brilliant. But it's going to be a good European tour. It's not going to be a European tour where, you know, we're going to, you know, we're not seeded. So we are going to be playing against a relatively big side in the Europa League, at least one. Yeah. So that's great. That's great.
That is great. Yeah, of course it is. That's and it's good timing that there'll be supporters back.
Support us back. Hopefully, some of them will be in the old. Hopefully, some of the places we go to will be in green, so we can go.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
that's the trouble. I'm double dosing. Yeah. I'll be double dosed for ages, so I'm all right. I'm fine.
I got one to go, but yeah.
You youngsters.
Youngsters. I like you, Russ.
Youngsters. That's why, Paul. That's
I bet I'm older than you, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not as fat as me. That's why. That's why I got 2 in. So I've had 2 done. Below here, the lockdown body did not happen. To be honest.
I think we all gained a bit of a lockdown body.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the one thing Amazon couldn't deliver me was a lockdown body, or even Deliveroo. That's probably the problem, to be honest. But right, let's move on to your Hammers 11. So basically, everyone we have on the channel, Paul, but bar I think 3 people. And that would be like Harry Redknapp, I think it was Nigel Coker and Ian Bishop. Everyone else gave us an 11. So the idea is you put together 11 of it can be based on whatever criteria you want. It doesn't have to be the best, it can be the, you know, whatever. But the only rule is you have to be alive to see them play. Now, we said just before we started that it sounds an easy thing to do, but it's not.
No.
Particularly you from the 80s, so like the early 80s, technically you can pick all the way, you know, there's a lot to pick from. I mean, I started supporting the club. I mean, my first game was the 92-93 promotion season. So I had I didn't have any of the 85-86 boys because I hadn't seen them. So that was the trouble with me. So I know it's been quite tricky, but it must be quite cathartic as well. You know, reliving memories.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, I must say, I've only been to one game in the 80s, and that was in '86. And that was West Ham Chelsea, and we won 5-3. That's actually my first match. That's my first ever game. So I've got a couple of guys from the 80s, and then it was mainly 90s when the season that we got promoted to the Premier League. That's the season that I first went for the whole season.
Same as me.
And onwards, really.
So you know, same as me. That's good. Right. Okay. So we'll start off in position. So we'll start off in goal. So who's
Okay.
going in goal for the Paul Fake 11?
Okay, well, it was tough, but it was tough. But should I tell you? No, okay. I went for Ludo. I went for Ludek McCloskey because I remember sitting behind that goal when West Ham played Man United and Blackburn won the league on the last day of the season.
Yeah. And
what an onslaught of Ludo's goal and some of the saves he made. To me, that's such good memories. And he's probably to be fair, he's probably the goalkeeper that I've seen the most. So, and what a legend, Ludo. He's brilliant. This is a funny shout, and I didn't pick him, but part of me thought Peter Shilton.
Oh.
But he never made an appearance for us. But I did see him at matches warming up, and I did actually get a photo of him once. I just called him, and he came over, and I took photos. And to me, he's like a legend. It was just as he was walking off, to be fair. But
it was funny.
What a legend.
We interviewed a guy who was a reserve team. He only made 3 appearances. A guy called Steve Motone, who's an Australian guy, and he signed just before, or Schultz had just signed, and so as a youngster in Australia, he was like, Peter Shilton, and he was like next to him, like training with him, and it was the same thing. He never played, but he was Peter Shilton. And although I did go to his 1000th league game when he went to Orient. I remember he went to Orient.
That's right, he did after West Ham, wasn't it?
Yeah, to basically get to the 1000.
Yeah,
and I can't remember he was again like Plymouth or Peterborough or something like that. It was heaving. I've never seen the Brisbane Road so busy. But we'll put Ludo. And Ludo was like always in goal. He was just like always in goal, wasn't he? He's just like remember like any time it was Ludo was in goal that time.
Was it Ian Fuhrer?
Ian, the American. We've had Ian on. Ian's a top bloke.
Yeah, he was the backup. I remember him being. He was a top bloke.
He was really fun, and it's funny because you interview a lot of them, and obviously, he was saying. I said to him and Steve as well. I said, what's it like being a number 2? Because surely you're going in, and you're not going to be playing every game. And he was like, it's really weird, Russ, because like we have like this goalkeepers union, and we want to make sure that, and we look out for each other. So we're always like a little band of brothers, but you just want to. It's not a case you don't wish that Ludo was doing badly, but you want to be ready. So if he did do badly, you go. And I understood that.
Yeah,
you get one chance. You get one chance. I mean, I think Steve made 3 appearances in a week, and that was it. Then he was done. So it was like 2 cup games and a Premier League because Ludo was injured. And then the next game was like Liverpool away or Arsenal or something like that. And Ludo was fit for that. But yeah, honestly, I love this. I love those stories. It's incredible. We'll put Ludo in.
I got to say, Russ, Phil Parkes was up there as well because I've seen Phil Parkes the once, obviously on telly a lot. But I went with Ludo because I've seen him lots more times.
It's reference. It's all reference points. And that's why I put in that thing about you have to be alive to have seen him play, because I never saw Phil Parkes play, so he didn't get in my team. So yeah, but some people did. Then he's in the team. Right, defenders. Who's your first defender?
Okay, well, my favourite left back ever, Mr. Julian Dix.
Oh, of course.
Because, the Terminator, what more can you say? He loved his heavy metal, which also was, for me, a good thing.
Yeah.
But he's just such a guy. I mean, he was penalty taker, what extraordinary. He would just smash them, I think. I don't think a penalty was ever saved, was it?
I don't
know if
think
Julian
so.
penalty was ever saved or if he missed, I don't know. But I'd go with Julian Dix. And the fact that he never played for England, I just think that was outrageous, really.
It was
for years.
It was, but it's all continued throughout the whole of West Ham since probably Julian onwards, isn't it? In that good players, if they played for West Ham, had to be like even more better. I was going to say gooder, but better. That's the word, Russ.
Yes,
better to get into the England squad. Like Declan Rice now, he has to be in England squad because he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Whereas Jesse Lingard, arguably one of the most informed midfielder we've got. No, Mark Noble, exactly the same. We've had him before. Billy Bonds. How did Billy Bonds never play for England, but Emlyn Hughes did 60 odd times?
That makes no sense at all, does it?
Makes no sense. Right, so we'll put the Terminator in. Love Terminator. Love Dixie. Right, who's next?
Okay, I've gone for Rio. I've gone for
Mr.
Rio
Rio
Ferdinand
Ferdinand.
because when he started at West Ham, I think everyone could see that he was going to go far.
Yeah.
Be a great player, be a great England player. I used to love it. Once or twice every match, he would do one of those marauding runs up the pitch,
Yeah.
which is exciting. It's just a great guy. Guy. So,
and I think with Rio as well.
Mr. Ferdinand.
I think with Rio, for me, he was. It's like, I think. I'm trying to explain it. I mean, because he had such a good career after West Ham, I feel really proud of that career he's had because it started with us. I know, like, it's like a cake. You've got the guy, you might make a beautiful cake, but the guys who made the eggs were really, really good eggs. So therefore, you're going to have a good cake. And I think that's sort of, in the same way with Rio. And I think he knows that. And I think that's why he still has a soft spot for West Ham. And
it's definitely, yes.
Obviously, Anton as well, his brother. And just great person, Rio is. Big fan of his. We'll put Rio in. He was in mine as well. Julian was in mine. Rio was in mine. So you're doing
nice. Who's your goalie, Russ? Who was your...
Robert Green for me.
Okay, yeah,
no, it wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't even Robert Green. Sorry, Lucas Fabianski. No? Sorry, Lucas. Imagine Lucas now is like, I'm like, unsubscribed. I'm sure he is in the Poland team camp at the moment. No, I had Lucas Fabianski. The reason I had Lucas Fabianski was I loved Ludo, and I think part of my love of Ludo was just nostalgia of him being in that team, and then that time where I really got into West Ham. But I always remember my granddad, God rest his soul, he used to call him Loopy Ludo, and that just stuck in my head. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I thought Fabianski consistently. I mean, when I look at goalkeepers now, we haven't done bad for goalkeepers apart from like 6 months about 2 seasons ago. But every time, but Fabianski's the first keeper I can think of. Maybe Robert Green was the same as well, to some extent, where a ball's coming in, a cross is coming in. You're not worried if he's going to catch it. You're already looking where he's going to throw it to. Do you know what I mean? And I know he fluffed one a couple of days, but every keeper at West Ham does what I do. But that's why I put him in there. And I thought, the thing of Fabianski is if we'd had him before he went to Swansea, he would be, in my opinion, in the same ilk as a Ludo. Because Ludo so long, like longevity. But again, it's all reference points. Right, I'll put Rio in. Who's your next one then?
Okay, I was going to go Alvin Martin because I see him play towards the end of his career with West Ham. But I've kind of picked one, to be honest, it's not one that I know as much about, but I loved him when I was a kid. And that was Ray Stewart.
Oh, Tonka.
I just remember he was just one of my favourite players when I was a child. And I don't really know the reason why, because I didn't know much about the players, but I just always liked Ray Stewart and the fact that he could take a killer penalty as well.
Yeah.
So
I think Tonks was like, I mean, I never saw him play. I obviously very, we converse. Let's just say that we converse now, and just such a mad West Ham. He's passionate about West Ham, and I've obviously gone to watch a lot of games since interviewing a lot of players from that era as well, or the ones that you could see. Obviously, there's a media blackout in 85-86, but he was just. What I like about certain players are they'll play. Obviously, we had a problem with Sebastian Haller, didn't we? I know it's just that's a segue. Yeah. Sebastian Haller. Obviously, Sebastian Haller could only play in one system. Ironically, we'd probably still. I reckon we'd have been in the Champions League if we still had kept him. But that's just my opinion. Just because I think we needed him a few times last season. But anyway, so he only played in one position, and so if you played a system which didn't suit his position, he was crap. Ray Stewart, I think even the 85-86 season must have played 3 or 4 positions that season. So obviously was known as a right back primarily, but obviously played centre back as well. He played left back, I think, some games. I think he played defensive midfield as well, and would just give 100%. Wouldn't sulk. Just do it. You know what I mean? And I think
for the team, for the cause. He would just
do it for John Hart, and he said, I asked him that about a while ago, because obviously he was saying about the West Ham that the team, we had obviously a few injuries last season, and he goes, now you see how good Moyes is. If he can get a tune out of this player if he puts him out of position, because it's about the manager and the play, the way he says John Law would make me, I'd run for a brick wall after he might put me, he says, Ray, I'm going to put you left back today. And then he'd tell me why. And he'd make me think I was the best left back in the country. And then next week I'll be playing centre mid, and he'll tell me I'm the best centre midfielder in the country. And I believed him. And that was the same with him. But yeah, love Ray Stewart. Love Ray Stewart. Right, so what? Dixie, Rio, Stewart. Who else? Who's next?
Okay, I don't necessarily know if this guy was 100% right back, but I know, like with Tonga, I know that he dropped back in that position many times, and that is Steve Potts.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, Potsy could go there.
Potsy, what a player! He was brilliant. He was captain for a few years as well, wasn't he? And also, I believe where I used to go to school, the chip shop around the corner, I believe his mum and dad used to own that. And I think I never saw him, but people said that he used to work in there on Saturdays.
That's a great story. If that's true,
whilst he was a youngster, that was at the Roundhouse.
I guarantee someone will be watching. What was the fish and chip shop called? Do you remember?
It was by the Roundhouse in Dagenham. I can't
I'm
remember.
Sure if someone will watch this and know if that's true or not. So yeah, because he was a Dagenham boy, wasn't he? He went to Dagenham.
Yes.
I've got a picture somewhere of him. One of his mates stitched him up when he was doing a show. So
maybe the chip shop was called something like Potsy's Place, or I don't know. No, I don't know.
Potsy's Place. That's great. Yeah, but PLAICE, of course.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Of course.
I love that. Potsy's Place. Yeah. If not, it should have been. If not, there's a missed opportunity. If not, when we go back to London Stadium and they need some outdoor food vendors, they have to have a fish and chip shop called Potsy's Place. That's it.
And they have to name all the food vendors after players. You could have Haller's Hamburgers, couldn't you?
Haller's Hamburgers. You could. You could have. That's it. Here we go. That's it. That's it. Because what we do I do like a live show every lunchtime, Monday to Friday, and I do a silly thing where I say to someone, I'll say, right, I give them homework, and I say, right, okay, tomorrow we're going to do a West Ham car 11, and they have to make it
that sounds great.
So it's great fun. So it's great fun, and we have some, and honestly, like Rio Ferdinand. We've had some really honestly, or we do like a barbecue 11, or we do a whatever. And so they get
is Cleo Ferdinand related to Aston Ferdinand?
Exactly. Or we could have Aston Martin.
That's better.
All those types of things. And so I'm going to save that. We'll save that anyway. But yeah, we could have come on,
food 11.
Think. Where's the
food
K?
11?
I'm trying to think of a K. Mark Keller Kebabs. That's it. Mark Keller Kebabs.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
That's what I mean. Okay, here we go. Right, what else? Oh my God.
Payette's Pizzas.
What have we got?
Payette's Pizza.
Payette Pizza.
Obvious.
Schemmel Sushi. Because actually, Sebastian Schemmel, he's he owns a restaurant called it was a brasserie in Luxembourg called Upton Park.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
That's good.
And he may be on the channel next week. Just saying.
Oh,
just
excellent.
Saying.
Excellent.
Just saying. For those of you who've watched it, they know who could be on next week. Right. Anyway, Steve Potts, like Mr. Dependable, Mr. West Ham, he just never had a hair out of place as well.
No.
PLACE, not PLICE. But he never did he? Never did.
Just in that sort of, I'm not comparing, but in that Bobby Moore mold. I know
what you mean. Old school, a bit like Martin Noble.
Yeah,
Martin Noble has ever had that place. And again, that's maybe what captured. It's like almost sort of a similar role. I know exactly
Scott
what you mean.
Parker. He was kind of
exactly,
like that.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. I mean, obviously. Parker's pickles. Parker's Plowmans.
Like it.
Could you? You couldn't get. Could you imagine going to a game and what have you got? I've got a pie. Parker's pies. Idiot. What have you got? I've got a Plowmans. Shows how posh I am, isn't it? I didn't think of pie. I went straight for Plowmans.
Straight for Plowmans. That's good. Yeah. Healthy. healthier.
Well, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Nigel's does. He's my delivery man for my pie and mash, and I don't eat pie and mash. Mrs. Budden eats pie and mash, and yeah, so that's why pies didn't come into my head. Just cheese and onions instead, and a bit of French bread on the side. Anyway, we digress as always. But yeah, Steve Potts, I know exactly what you mean, and also I think Steve Potts, talking about people who should have played for England. If Steve Potts was about 4 or 5 inches taller, he would have been in the England squad.
Yeah, agreed.
Arguably, he was a better centre back than he was a right back, but he was just 5'7", 5'8". It's like,
that's not the tallest, is it, for centre back?
But he read the game well, so and that's the idea. That nowadays you can get away with that. Now it's not necessarily an aerial battle, really. It's about reading the game and just
seeing the pass,
exactly,
seeing the way out. Yeah,
just intercepting. I think there's one game. I think it was Arsenal away where Potsy was just like I want to say Ian Wright in his pocket or something like, he literally just like man marked about the whole game. It was real sort of, people talk about, certain games and certain players and Potsy at that game was just phenomenal. And, but yeah, okay. So we've got your Dixie, Rio, Stewart, Tonks, Potsy. Who's next? Who's your next in your team then, Paul?
Okay, so we're going midfield.
Go for it.
Okay, now this could be a mistake, and I apologise. But I've gone left wing. I'm thinking this is wrong, but I've gone Billy Bonds.
Well, we put whatever you want. It's your team.
So I know he was a midfielder.
We'll put it doesn't matter. Because because we're doing it on Zoom. Because we're doing it on Zoom, just don't say the positions, and I'll just put the thing up, and no one would know. So in midfield, Billy Bonds.
Billy Bonds. It was close. It was either Billy Bonds or Felipe Anderson.
Do you know what? It's a coin toss. I'll be honest, it's a coin toss.
It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough choice. But I opted for Billy Bonds.
Yeah.
Yes. In my mind, just a legend. I see him lift a cup.
Of course.
I mean, twice in my lifetime, but once that I actually saw because I was, old enough. I did go and see an evening with Billy Bonds a few years ago in a local that was hosted by Tony Gow, and that was brilliant.
Great fun.
That was such a good night. Yeah, so good.
I'm looking forward to going. That's one thing I'm looking forward to as well. Is obviously I associate a few people who do these events, and so in the summer we're going to be doing more. So I can't wait to start going. And just like and that's what I love about that era. You said like Tony Gow and Bonzo, and you got like Tonka and people like that, and you'd go and listen to them, every year. Wherever you sit, every year at the Southend Cliffs or whatever, or Barking Theatre.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and but it's the same stories. They say the same stories. You know the punchline, but you go and listen to them because
you don't care. You don't care. You've heard them before, but you like them. They give you a smile, don't they?
And that's
a bit like Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah,
you've seen it a million times.
That's exactly what it is. He's going to fall down, and he's going to fall in that wine bar, and you're just like, wait. There he is. Yeah, it's going to happen. No, it's so true. We'll put Bill in, top man, amazing character. Right, Bonzo. So Bonzo's your first midfielder. Who's next?
Okay, next I got Joe Cole.
Joey Cole. So you can flip it. Put Joe on the left. It's okay, and Billy can be in the middle. So it's fine. Joe Cole.
I've got Joe Cole in the same reason I got Rio. Really, just that you see him come into the team, and you kind of just knew that he was going to be a special player. I don't know if people felt he went as far as he could have done. Like obviously left us, went other teams, but should he have done more in his career? I know he's injured.
I think him and Rio, in some respects, not sort of when they look back at their trophy cabinet. And they've got some trophies in there, and they got some medals. Yeah. That's one more than they would have probably stayed if they stayed at us. But I think from a legacy perspective, Rio Ferdinand, when the Rio Ferdinand we saw and the Joe Cole we saw, if they continue to have played in the same vein that we saw them, Rio Ferdinand would have been, in my opinion, in the same ilk as a Beckenbauer, as a Maldini,
yes,
because he was like his play in central midfield, the centre back, and read the game well. And when he went to United, like Ferguson seemed to just take all that out, and it was more about just being a defender, which he was a fantastic defender. But he had that in his locker, same as Joe. Joe's best position was as a free role, and that's when he was at the most Joe Cole. And the game's changed now. You don't get free rolls and stuff like that. But that's my opinion.
And it was nice that he came back as well for a stint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's just nice that he, sort of unfinished business for him
exactly,
in a way.
Unfinished business, yeah. And he captained the side at a very young age as well. That season we went down, he captained the side, didn't he? And he was the same age as Deck, 21, 22. And, there's a lot of responsibilities taken, on his shoulders. And fair play, fair play to Joe. But he's got really crap internet, though. So that's the age, he's a great player. He's a great player.
You're going to get him on soon, no?
Well, he hasn't been on Miami's 11 because he can't. His internet keeps going down. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Eventually, when social distance, when we can all sort of meet up again, well, he's going to be on. So that's all right. Anyway, so we'll put Joe on. Who's next?
Okay, next I've gone for Mark Noble.
Oh,
Mr. West Ham. I mean, what can you say about this guy? He's consistent. He, as we said, Mr. West Ham. He loves the club. It's a shame. It's a shame that he's said that next season is his last. I mean, it's probably about time in some ways, isn't it? He's, to be fair, he's maybe slowing up a little bit in recent year or two. But the years that he's put in, and he's got a deep love for the club, hasn't he? Yes. So,
that's something really special, I think, as well. The fact is, and I was listening to his podcast with Peter Crouch like a few weeks ago, and it was quite interesting because obviously, I said looking at legacies, looking at Peter Crouch's legacy. Peter Crouch played for England. He had the robot. He played at Liverpool. He played at Tottenham. He played for Portsmouth. All these Stoke. And Crouch, he said, but I'm a bit jealous of you, Mark, because I won't be recognised as a legend at any of those clubs.
Yeah,
but you will be. When you hang your boots, you've got a job there for life. And you're a legend, and you'll go down as. And do you know what?
That's a really good point.
And I didn't think of it like that, but from an old school professional perspective, Crouch has probably played the same amount of games, maybe the same amount of games probably in his career, maybe. But
for about eight clubs or something, whatever amount it is.
Exactly, and it's really interesting to say. But also, you're right in terms of having being a West Ham boy as well, being your club captain, playing over 500 games for your club, your boyhood club is just something which is so unusual and so old school about it that
I think he's a bit unlucky on the England door as well, really.
Yeah.
He done well in the under 21s, didn't he? I think he captained the England under 21s.
I think someone said once, I know this is right, or I'll think about something else, that he was the most capped under 21 person, or something like that.
Wow.
It might be true. It might be bollocks. It might be someone else. It might be James Milner or something like that, probably. But
he's up there. He's up there, though, isn't he?
He must be up there. And particularly that 2015-16 season, the last season at the Bowling, there wasn't anyone. He was one of the best midfielders in the country. And it just never happened for him, did it?
Why do our players get overlooked?
They got crossed hammers on their shirt. And as I said, unless they're exceptional, they don't get in, do they?
But we all know you need 3 hammers in the team to win something for England.
Exactly.
We know that, don't we?
Exactly.
Everyone
We've only
knows
got
that.
one, so we're not going to win. Well, we've only got one, haven't we? Yeah, so we're not going to win it unless there's a pandemic. Unless there's a lot of people get ill, and we bring Cresswell in and
Antonio.
See again, yes, Antonio.
Why didn't he get a shout? Why didn't he get a shout?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
For us as a squad player, there's no one like him in the Premier League. Who's
no.
There is.
He's a beast. He's a beast to play against when he's on
20
fire,
minutes. It's funny. It's funny with Antonio. Everyone talks about Antonio. Oh yeah, but do you remember that 30 minutes against Wolves this season? I love the fact that his season has been dedicated to 30 minutes against Wolves because he was prime. He was just like prime Ronaldo. But he's going to be. He'll be our top Premier League goal scorer, won't he? Soon. So fair play to him. But I totally agree. He gets overlooked. That's why he said he was going to commit to Jamaica, wasn't he? For the World Cup.
He did say that.
And Ravel Morrison plays for Jamaica. So there you go.
Ravel Morrison. Wow.
Yeah, there was a player. Wow. Right, Bonzo, Joe Cole, Mark Noble. Who's next?
Okay, I've gone for Dimitri Payet.
Oh, okay. We'll put Dimi Payet in.
Because he left under sort of bad conditions or sour or bad terms. He done what we didn't want him to do. He left.
No,
he didn't want to stay with us, family reasons or homesick or whatever. But oh my God, the goals that he scored, the free kicks, a set piece, amazing. And he was just something. I don't remember a player like him for a few years before he came. Had them skills, or I don't think there's no one else really like him. I live like less than 5 minutes from Rush Green training ground, and a few times I've taken my children up there to meet the players, and and Payet came out and he was in his car, and I don't know, I had a moment where I just felt like, whoa, this. I said to him, I mean, can I have your autograph? And he signed my shirt, and I said, just want you to know you're a footballing god. He just laughed at me, and he gave me like a high five. But he was great. What a guy. To be honest, I've not followed him since he left. I couldn't tell you how he's got on since, or.
Well, yeah, he's done all right. He hasn't set the league alive since he's come back.
Was it when he was banging them goals in for us? Was it then at that time they said, like, people wanted him for like 50, 60 million or something?
Yeah, it was the last year, wasn't it? The last year, wasn't it? God, that's a long time ago. Think about it. And yeah, I mean, he was, we're talking about Real Madrid and all these players, and typical. But as you said, having someone like Payet, it was just amazing to have just someone of that talent. He was so talented. He was a joy to watch. A joy to watch. Yay, mate. Yeah, in terms of how he left and but I think that's it's a water under the bridge, and it's you can appreciate what a great player he was, what phenomenal talent he was, and probably one of the most. Well, he is the most skillful player I think I've ever seen at Upton Park.
I'd go along with that.
And the London Stadium, he played there as well, so there we go. He counts. Right, so we got Payet. Who's next?
Right, that's my midfield. Yep. So my two strikers. First is Tony Cottee. Who are the same, the club legend. He's just a guy. He scored his debut against Spurs, wasn't it? I mean, what more? What more could you want?
Sort of your peak, haven't you, really? You done that.
I saw him in my first game in '86. I think he scored 2 goals. It was a tough choice, to be honest, strikers. It was tough between. For me, I've got one already, but this choice, Tony, it was either Cottee or McAvenny.
Yeah.
Because they were the partnership. But I went for Tony Cottee for the fact that he did come back to us again.
Yeah.
So I saw him play a lot more times. After he came back from Everton. Funny enough, I think it was the match that he first came back at Upton Park. I got complimentary tickets from West Ham because my friend had been very ill in hospital, and we got Martin Allen came and visited my friend in hospital, which was brilliant. Now I'm thinking, why didn't I pick Martin Allen? But hey, he came and visited us, and he gave us free tickets. And he said, "When you're better, come. If you're better, come to this match." And the match that we went to was the first. I think it was the first home match Tony Cottee came back, and we was in the West Stand Upper Upton Park, and I think that's where maybe the players' families and wives. That's where the complimentary tickets were. Me and my friend jokingly. We saw like the team come on, they were warming up, and we both looked over at Cottee and just jokingly between us, we went, "Oh, look, it's the Everton reject." Right? We love Tony Cottee. We were just mucking about. Then a guy in front of us, who was sitting in front of us, he turned around and gave me the most stern look I think I've ever been given. And as he was giving me this look, I'm thinking, you really do look like an older version of Tony Cottee, And then it twigged. It's like, I think that's Mr. Cottee. That's Tony's dad. And we did both literally say to him, "We're only joking. We love Tony Cottee. We're joking." And he just smiled at us. I think he was doing a poker face, but he proper smiled. But I love Tony Cottee.
Yeah, top boy, isn't he? Top man. Just a lovely guy. Just a lovely. But again, like all those boys from that era, are just lovely.
And he's still got massive interest in West Ham. Was he part of
Yeah, he's
part
a
of a consortium or something that was thinking of buying them at one
apparently
point.
so.
I
Yeah, but I
believe.
mean, he's like, yeah, I mean, he's a fan, and so again, it was that part of, having someone who's scored so many goals for your club, who used to sneak under the turnstiles to get, and the same as Mark as well. It's great. That's what I love about West Ham. There's a lot of players who have this sort of real emotional connection, and they still have it after they've left. I mean, everyone I've interviewed, every player, I've interviewed that, enjoyed their time at West Ham and still follow the team and still follow the results. And it's like, I mean, if you ask Joe Cole who he'd support, he does say Chelsea and West Ham. That's what he says. And I think for anyone outside of football, in terms of football players, everyone's like, how can you support two clubs? But he does support. He plays.
It's got to be different when you're. Yeah, it's got to be different when you're
same as
a
Scott
player,
Minto. Scott Minto is the same thing. Charlton, West Ham, and Chelsea, and Benfica. Because he played for them. So but yeah, TC, top boy. Right. Okay, so we've got TC. Got one more spot. Okay, so let me just write in Jonathan Clary now. Who is it?
It is Paolo Di Canio.
Yeah, I was going to assume.
I mean, what can be said about Paolo Di Canio? Again, legend and great love of West Ham. He even still loves. I mean, he even still does the crosshammers when you see him on interviews. Just a great guy. I was a bit disappointed a few years back when there's rumours that he might come in and be assistant manager. I don't know if that was before Pellegrini. Or when Bilic was there. I can't remember. But as crazy as he can be with his sort of antics and his ways, I think he's a good man to have on your side, isn't he?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as I would have him nowhere near managing my team, but assistant manager, I think that assistant manager I could cope with him. Just because I think he's certain. There's a certain level of craziness which I think you sort of need. But if he was your manager, God knows. But yeah, assistant manager, a really great shout, I think. But he's just I mean, he's just Paolo, wasn't he? He was just Paolo.
Yeah. I think he was born to play for West Ham in a weird way.
I think it's a great shout. I think he was, man. I think he was. I think it was very. It's just there's certain people where it just works with the the team and the player just works together. I mean, someone like Paolo. I mean, Paolo's epitomised that. The team and the player just work together as a someone like Carlos Tevez as well. The player and it just worked.
Yeah, he was another one that I was an arguing about, to be honest, Tevez. But then I thought, no, I think Canio gave us more. I mean, Tevez done brilliant with us, and obviously stopped us going down, scoring last game of the season away at Man United, and then going to Man United the following season, I believe, was it?
Yeah. Then he came back and did all that, and then everyone started doing that. No one started doing that until Tevez had done it. So yeah, it's quite funny, but. Yeah, no.
Was that like a Tevez
thing? No. I mean, I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures from like the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
They've done that. I don't remember doing it until Tevez did it. I don't remember anyone doing it sort of in recent history, but yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was he sort of half brought it back, but he did it like up here, and.
Okay, yeah, and that's
it's like so it's like people do it there, but it's going to be up there the original anyway. We're splitting hairs as usual, but yeah, no, I mean, Di Canio was just like those players you just literally you would pay to watch.
Absolutely. That I mean, that game where he just plucked the ball out of the air to when someone got injured. That's one of those moments that you just think, hang on, what's going on? But then it was Di Canio. He does stuff like that, and obviously that goal of the season that he got that over was that against Everton? I'm not
at Wimbledon. That was Wimbledon.
Oh, Wimbledon. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, and that's funny because we had when we interviewed Ian Foyer, he was talking about Di Canio, and he credits himself with that goal. So he was like, yeah, that goal he scored was all because of me, because he apparently that Di Canio sort of did it in training off the cuff. And then he had this idea that he wanted to score that type of goal in the Premier League. So they spent 4 hours or 3 hours after training. He just got some youth team player just to ping balls across, and Ian was in goal, and Di Canio would just be doing it. It'd be going everywhere. Then he got 4 or 5 in a row, and that was it. He was happy. And apparently he scored that goal, and then he went running down the touchline, and apparently, but I didn't see it on the TV, but Ian tells me that the Di Canio basically like points him and that's for you and gives him a cuddle. But I can't verify that. Who am I to not believe Ian Foyer? But that's apparently the story. So yeah, it's and again, that just makes it it makes it even crazier because it's like where it wasn't like an off the cuff type thing. It was like, I'm going to do this. It just shows the ability of the man already that he just knew he was going to do it. So yeah, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do this thing. And it's just crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And that's the team. So we got a very good team. Very, very good. Very, very good, Paul. And obviously the single is available on everything, on everywhere.
Yeah, Spotify, all streaming and download sites. Yeah, Spotify,
all
iTunes,
that malarkey.
Everything. Yeah, all that malarkey.
We'll have a link to the video in the description, so go and check it out. Give it a like, give it a share, and hopefully we'll hear it a lot because obviously if England stay on quite a lot,
fingers crossed, eh?
That's the issue, isn't it? It's like it's great. If England don't do well, 18 years in the making. So this song. So
well, I've kind of always called it the official unofficial song of England for every tournament since 1966. So
sounds good. That sounds the best way, man. So cheers, man. Really, really appreciate your time, my friend.
No, you too, Russ, and I really, really appreciate the invite on. It's been loads of fun, and it was a lot harder than I thought it would be picking a team. But
it is. If you've only got a small reference point, that's fine. But if you've got quite a long reference and a reasonably successful reference point as well, that's the difference as well. That's the tricky stuff. But no, it's been great, and obviously thanks everyone for watching or listening. If you're listening on the podcast, Sports Social, check them out and all that type of stuff. But anyway, from myself and from Paul, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jab appointments when you get your jab appointments. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye-bye.